Perfect. All right. It's 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is a public meeting of South Shore Arts Region 1 Arts Project Support Panel Number 1. I'm Deanna Polsma, the Grants and IT Manager for the Indiana Arts Commission. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2020. We are meeting by conference call and streaming live from a webinar. We welcome applicants who may be listening in today and would like to remind you that you are muted for this review. There is no direct contact or conversation about the evaluation and disposition of applicants before, during, or after the panel meeting. At this time, we'd like the panelists and staff to introduce themselves, stating their name, occupation, and where they're from in the state. I will start with Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Blaker. I work for Lockmuller Group, an engineering firm, and I am recently moved to Winfield, Indiana.
Thank you. And Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Young. I'm from Whiting, Indiana. I work at Calumet College of St. Joseph, and I'm the president of the Whiting Arts Council.
Thank you. Dustin?
Hi, my name is Dustin Richie. I'm the production director for Indiana Dunes Tourism. I'm also a member of the South Shore Arts Commission and Valparaiso Creative Council.
Thank you. Pat?
Hi, I'm Pat Martin. I'm with the City of Bloomington Planning and Transportation Department, and I'm a photographer part-time, among other things.
All right, thank you. Carol?
Hi, I'm a retired senior partner from Centier Bank, and I live in Crown Point, Indiana.
Thank you. And Donna?
I am Donna Catalano, and I am the Special Projects Director for South Shore Arts, Region 1, Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we have Chapin Schnick, IAC staff, on the line as well to assist with any technical issues, and you can chat with her in the box if needed. We'll now begin the panel review. This is how the process will work. I will announce the application. We will review and ask the first reader to begin the discussion. First reader will provide their assessment of the application based upon the evaluation criteria and their perspective. Panelists, please note that the applications do not need to be recapped since everyone is ready. Just provide your comments. After the first reader is finished, I'll ask the second reader to present any new, additional, or opposing comments. We are not looking for a consensus, just a full evaluation from the different perspectives that the panelists all bring to the table. After the second reader has finished, I'll open up discussion for final comments. Remember, in the interest of time, we're only looking for new, additional, or opposing comments. If a panelist has a conflict of interest, we will place them in a waiting room. However, we do not have any conflict of interest on this panel. Finally, once the application has been reviewed in full, I'll ask everyone to update their scores in the online system. It's common for scores to change as a result of broader discussion. The scores will save automatically. I'll give you guys a few minutes at the end before moving on to the next application. Are there any questions? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and begin. We'll start with the NWI Public Broadcasting. The first reader is Amy.
Hold on, sorry. Okay. Okay, so what I found, I would say, the most appealing about this is that this is so accessible to anyone, right? There's no barriers because it's easy to access on a mobile device or TV or so it really, I feel like it really opens the door to arts in Northwest Indiana instead of being like a location that you have to go to. It's something that you can view yourself, and sometimes getting to events is difficult in itself. And this is a really nice entryway into arts. And it has a wide range of art showcased. I think that their marketing plan is also seamless because where you're seeing the marketing is also where you will view the art. So that's also very seamless and speaks to its accessibility.
All right, is that all, Amy?
That is.
Perfect, thank you so much. We'll now move on to our second reader, Carol.
Yes, good morning. I concur certainly with everything that Amy has said. I thought it was good that they use John Kane a lot as the narrator and get many people involved from the South Shore Arts Board, so that they can make sure that they're finding different artists throughout the region. I guess I would like to have seen them maybe expand a little bit on social media in terms of creating a little bit better awareness in the social media. I'm on Facebook a lot, and I don't maybe see as much as I'd like to see from them on social media, as well as getting some good feedback using the social media outlet. But certainly I like the wide range of video segments and the fact that they really tapped into a lot of different artists. That would be it for me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carol. Any additional or opposing comments to add by the rest of the panel?
I would just like to say that I agree with what was said. I think that a little bit more time explaining kind of the and I quote idea elements would have been helpful in this application, and then also showing a little bit how they are learning from past years, just kind of how they're taking information. They mentioned a little bit, but I think just elaborating on that just a little bit more would have been helpful. Otherwise, I thought it was a very strong application.
Thank you very much. Any other comments to add? All right, hearing none, I'll give you guys a few moments to finalize and update scores if needed. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the next application. Chautauqua in the Dunes. Pat is our first reader.
Okay, Chautauqua, this was a very strong application. Even though they've only got 2 years of experience, they're showing their project description I had is very good. It's completely thorough. Their community engagement is outstanding. And their project management, agree, is also very, very strong. And I would call their project management also very, very good. I wish their marketing materials were more thorough. Other than that, I thought this was an excellent application.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Dustin is our second reader. Are you there, Dustin? You might be muted.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah, no, so what I was saying, while I think that the artistic merit of this application is very strong, I believe that there were some things that were missing from the application. So for instance, a couple of the links that they gave to their marketing materials did not go to accurate Facebook pages. And I think that they could incorporate some more of the necessary idea requirements. Also, I thought that the project management section got a little bit convoluted because it mentioned Michelle Pendergrass was mentioned in the first section, but was not mentioned in the staffing section for the project management. And then under artistic, I wanted to say that I wanted to know a little bit more about their vetting process for the artists. So it was talked about, but I thought that that was just a little bit vague. So I thought that just a little bit more information kind of on their process and making sure that all of the links and things were accurate. But otherwise, I think that what they're doing is strong.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dustin. Any new or opposing comments from the rest of the panel?
I would agree that I thought the artistic quality was very high, but I had the same kind of issues about marketing and how are they reaching the underserved population. There could have been detailed a little bit more. I did like the collaborations with other nonprofits, but I felt like something was missing in the marketing of it. Something was missing to kind of connect the dots.
Thank you so much. Any other additional comments to add? All right, hearing none, I'll give you guys a few moments to finalize your scores and comments. Okay, we will go ahead and move on to our next application, Duo Sequenza. Jennifer, you're the first reader.
Can you hear me?
We can.
All right, perfect. I really like the adaptability of this one. It seems like they are constantly changing for their venues and that their venues are constantly changing. It also seems really beneficial that they can play wherever they want. This doesn't have to be something that requires a lot of pre-planning. It doesn't have to be something that is canceled if it rains. I think that's the best thing that they have going for them. They also really are reaching out in different directions. So they're not some group that's only going to have a really small audience. I guess that's the end of my thought. I started that sentence like I was going somewhere else with it.
Okay. Amy, you're the second reader. Do you have any additional questions or comments?
Yeah, I appreciate the non-traditional venues where they're really trying to bring in a broad group of people. I think that in marketing, I think it's very unique, but I also think there's a confusion on what chamber music is and how to sort of draw people in. So there could be, a better emphasis on marketing again, because for the average person, when you are trying to draw in an underserved population, just not even knowing what that is, if you have a better understanding, it might spark more of an interest.
Perfect. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
No. Okay, thank you. And we will open it up for additional and opposing comments to the rest of the panel.
I would like to agree with Amy. I definitely think that there could have been a little bit more of an effort on the audience participation and idea implementation. One of the things that I was noticing is while I think that their approach to this is fantastic, I would really like to see them reaching out to the audience as well, rather than just having the venue supply that audience. And then the other thing that I noticed, and I believe I read this, a similar application for this last year, is in the project description, they spend a lot of time kind of going through the theory of classical music and its importance, but they didn't actually address the question of the artists that were going to be performing this music. So just making sure that that is clear for future applications. However, I will say that their website and their marketing, I've seen a definite change from last year to this year, so you can see that they are implementing those changes, which was very exciting to see.
And just to note that we don't want to bring in outside information, so the scoring and comments are based on the application this year and not what you had read from last year.
I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. Just wanted to make it clear for the record. Okay, any other additional comments to add? All right, hearing none, I'll give you guys a few moments to go ahead and finalize your scores and update comments as needed. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our next application, the Garry Shakespeare Company. Carol is our first reader.
Yes, good morning again. I really like the fact that this project has been going on for 7 years. I think Shakespeare can be rather daunting for most individuals, so kudos for them for trying to bring Shakespeare into many of our lives here in Northwest Indiana. I like the fact that they try to include all different age groups in terms of auditions, making it available to everyone in the community. I think I saw the age span of 15 to 80, which is great to get young people involved, but also us older folk that still have some talent and something to give back to the community in the way of art. It looks like they had a very experienced people that are involved in the production, which is great, and that they're again trying to attract a wide variety of audience to these productions. I would like to see perhaps in the audition marketing materials, maybe a little bit more descriptive and as a way to attract more people to auditions, perhaps showing different age groups that it's open to, that might help them a little bit, attract more folks to audition for it. And it seemed like it was a little vague in the application as to where the venues are that they do these productions. When I dug a little bit further into some of the material, I did see that from last year where they had the productions, but they did not have that anywhere that I could find in the application for this year. And they recognized, and I agree with them, that maybe tracking the number of people that are attending their productions could be improved. And I think that would help them see perhaps where they could attract more age groups or different age groups if they had a better way of tracking the audience numbers. And that's it from me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carol. Pat, you are our second reader.
Okay, I agree with all of Carol's comments. I mean, I like the fact that they had 20 shows in 15 different venues, but I had over to the side question mark where. I couldn't find that anywhere at all. I like their honesty, and they say that the audiences are good about letting us know that things aren't perfect. Also with participation, community participation, they were showing, I believe it was 500 children under the age of 18. That's a round number that makes me wonder what's the real number. You know, is it really 500, or is it 480 or 490, or is it 475 or something like that? And I like the fact that they have 30 artists. I mean, this is a really good organization. It just needs a little bit more fine tuning. It would be perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pat. Any new or opposing comments from the panel?
I just want to agree with, I had the same question about venues, especially because this is a free event, so it's very accessible, but you couldn't really see where. I appreciate that they acknowledge that Shakespeare can be intimidating to the average person and that this is a more contemporary version of it, and would like to see a little bit more marketing on that side of it, because sometimes when people hear Shakespeare, it can be very intimidating.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and give you a few moments to update your comments and scores. Okay, we'll move on to our next application, the South Shore Brass Band. Dustin, you're our first reader.
All right, let me just pull that up. Okay. So this project's been going on for 13 years, and I think it continues to show a great amount of artistic merit. I think it's really great that they're bringing these concerts into local schools. Some of my comments for the artistic merits would be that the social media channels provided, I think they could have been a little more fleshed out. They felt like they more updating to them, maybe even updating profile pictures, channels. And then I really recommended a dedicated YouTube channel. I thought that the YouTube videos that they provided were great, but they look to be on a personal YouTube channel. And I definitely think that those videos could be on their own dedicated South Shore Arts channel. And then some more details on the evening concert. Right now it's pending funding, but I think that it's a vital part of the application. So they talked about the evening concert a lot and how that's going to bring in the community, but they did say that it's pending funding. And so I'm not sure if it's actually going to be a part of what this program is. For engagement, I thought that the application accomplishes its goals, but it doesn't always outline how the evening and concert will engage a larger audience or target more diverse audiences. I think that the mission to help the school is evident, and this project succinctly accomplished that objective, but I'd like to see more about its marketing efforts as well as a stronger social media presence. And then for project management, I thought that was well thought out. It does look, I'm not sure how we talk about this. It does look like when we looked at their budget that this seems to be almost fully funded as is, but I put that down there, but I think everything that they're asking for is completely reasonable. So those are my comments.
Perfect, thank you so much. Just for the record, the application is not need-based, it's a competitive process, so we won't take that into consideration, but thank you for noting. We will go ahead and move to Jennifer, the second reader.
I really like the idea of having professionals work with student musicians. I think it gives them a great professional development experience. My only concern for this one is that they don't have a school picked out yet, and so much of what they're doing is dependent on the school providing students and a venue and so much other support.
Thank you. Any other comments you'd like to add?
I'd like to add that I appreciate the very clear goal that they have of bringing the music to the students. Again, there's not that accessibility issue when they're bringing it right into the school. I like that aspect of it, of getting into schools that have sort of isolated opportunities for music like this. So I appreciated that.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from the panel? All right, hearing none, I'll give you guys a few moments to finalize your scores and update comments as needed. Okay, we will move on to our next application, the Youth Service Bureau of Porter County. Amy is our first reader.
Oh, excuse me. So Chalk the Walk, excuse me. I think it's very comprehensive in their proposal here. They show the different categories, plus not just viewing the art, but being able to watch the artist as they're developing their chalk work. They've added children's activities and a dog zone, so they're paying attention to input from their past events. Excuse me, and they're also very adaptable to any special needs. So it's very inclusive. It's not just artistic, but very they're not just hitting their artistic qualities, but also it's extremely inclusive. I feel like their application shows that there's truly something for everyone in this event. And being able to watch the artists themselves, I think, provides a meaningful event. I also think their marketing is done very well.
Okay, thank you, Amy. We will now hear comments from Carol, the second reader.
I also thought that it was good that there was no cost to the artists, so that helps attract, again, a wide variety of budding or existing artists. And they did a good job of getting lots of business sponsorship from the community. So that shows a real strong belief by the local businesses of the value of this event. I wonder what they do if there's inclement weather. I didn't see an alternate date or if they had a way to deal with that. So maybe that's somewhere that they've thought about. And then finally, I know it's difficult because it is out in the open and people can just walk up, but it sure would be great to find a way, somehow to count and survey those that are attending the event, just to get some really good feedback as to, areas that people like or maybe room for improvement. But otherwise, I think it's a really great event and a really strong application.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carol. Any other new or opposing comments to add? Okay, hearing none, I'll give you guys a few moments to update your comments and scores. Okay, we are flying through this. We are officially at our halfway point. Does anyone need to take a break, use the restroom before we continue on?
No, I'm fine.
No? Okay, we will keep chugging along then. We have the artistic discovery as our next application. Pat Martin is our first reader.
I made a mistake on that. It's artistic recovery.
Recovery. Right.
Yeah.
My apologies, artistic recovery.
My mistake.
No worries. No worries. This is a very strong application. I mean, I was impressed with the artistic quality project description, the fact that they're looking not only locally but across the country for recruiting the artists, the fact that they have emailed over 1,200 talented artists at various mediums across the United States. It ensures a high quality artistic experience. Community engagement is very good to outstanding in terms of they value strong feedback and to strengthen the event. The fact that it coincides with the Duneland Chamber's European market is also a very strong plus. And also helping the individuals remove and replace the recovery places themselves. Project management in terms of the timeline is very thorough. Their budget also, project management is very good. I wish their marketing materials were more extensive. They're good what they have, but I wish they were more extensive. Other than that, this is an excellent application.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pat. Dustin, you are our second reader.
I agree with Pat. I think that this is a very strong application. I think that I would have liked to see a little bit more details on how the artists are selected. They talked about that they have 1,200 talented artists on their email newsletter, but just kind of getting a little bit more information. Do they reach out to them? Are they invited and everyone can participate, or do they have a selection process for that? And then I just had said for the community engagement kind of marketing section, it would have been nice to see sharing some social media links and an example perhaps of one of their email campaigns to the 1,200 artist participants. And then also just a little bit more details on how they are going to be serving other demographics. It sounds like they've coupled this with a fantastic event, but just do they have actually marketing initiatives for the idea part of the application? As far as project management goes, I thought that the budget is excellent. I would have maybe liked to see a little bit more on the staff and timeline, but everything seemed very reasonable.
Great comments. Thank you so much, Dustin. Any new or opposing comments from the rest of the panel?
This is Carol. I'm not sure that they gave enough information in their marketing that this is a fundraiser and where the money is going to. I think that would have been helpful for people to know that while it's a great artistic event, and I certainly concur with what both Pat and Dustin have said, I think maybe having a little bit more information about where the money is going would have been helpful to their cause.
Just a quick kind of clarifying question. Are you saying that it noted the application was for a fundraising event entirely or different events?
No, the fact that it's supporting those people that are recovering from addiction, that I think that might have been a little bit better highlighted in their marketing material.
Perfect. Okay, just wanted to clarify. Thank you. Any additional comments from the panel? All right, hearing none, I'll leave you guys to updating your scores and comments here. Okay, we will go ahead and move on to the next application. The Regional Performing Arts Company. Jennifer, you're our first reader.
I like this one a lot, except I have two concerns. I'll start with the thing I really like is that they want to reach out to the community and start additional partnerships, but they don't really say how they're going to do that or if they've started. That can be kind of a hard thing to do, especially when they've got a lot of options, or even if they don't have any options at all. It's hard to know where to start with who can find a mutual partnership. My other concern is that they kind of throw in that they just purchased a building. I'd like to hear more about that and how it's going to impact their financials and how it's going to contribute to their ability to put on performances. Is this going to be something that makes things a lot easier, or is it just going to be something that kind of gets in the way since they've been doing so well without it? I do like their pictures.
I just wanted to clarify that is related to the feasibility criteria then, that concern?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Did you have additional comments you wanted to share? I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let's see. And we'll move on to Amy, our second reader.
Yeah, I thought this was a great application, and I love that the roles, even sort of the behind the scenes, were youth led, and I think that gives a broad view of the arts. And again, with the collaboration between the city of Portage, sort of felt the same thing, like how exactly are they collaborating? They could have fleshed that out a little bit more. I think it's a great idea to collaborate with the city, and that, you know, they're saying that there's currently nothing community theater related for youth in that city, but there's just, it's sort of lacking how they're going to bridge that gap. And they do have the opportunity, if they do work with the city, to really be far reaching. Excuse me, but thank you, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Amy. Any new or additional comments from the panel?
My only comment for this application was that I just wanted to know more information about the professionals that they'll be hiring to teach the students. So they mentioned that each student will be able to choose someone to work with at their leisure, but I believe in the staffing, it only notes, I think, one person who's going to be staffing. So I would have liked to have known more about their vetting process and selection on who these students will be working with.
Great, thank you so much. Any additional comments to share? All right, hearing none, we will go ahead and finalize comments and scores. Okay, we will move on to our next application, the North Coast Cultural Association. Carol, you're our first reader.
Yes, I like their program, the Red Kite Brown Box. I thought this was a very strong application. The fact that it is very targeted towards children that have autism, and that they've collaborated with the Chicago Children's Theater, who developed the program. That gives the program, I think, a lot of strength. And the fact that they're using a special needs teacher who works directly with the Chicago Children's Theater, but also is the one heading up the program locally. Obviously, it's got to be kept very small because of the special needs that they're dealing with. And the theater that they have only seats 50. So that was very good in terms of trying to keep it very small and intimate. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen in the application was maybe a little bit more about the, they kept talking about each production, but it took me a while to find that they have more than one show, because I thought, wow, if you're going to do all this for just 12 children, but I did, as I dug through everything, I did see that there were 3 different times to choose from. So they're actually reaching more than just 12 children, but I thought that could have been a little bit more defined as to how many productions they're actually putting on in that one day. But otherwise, I like the application a lot.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Pat, you're our second reader.
Okay, I agree with Carol's comments. I had to burrow to find the multiple performances. I wish that the community engagement and idea narrative would expand just a little bit. I love the fact that they have an outstanding artist to children to adult ratio. I thought their project activities timeline was very strong. Overall, I thought this was an outstanding application.
Wonderful, thank you, Pat. Any new or opposing comments from the panel?
I just have a critique. Well, first, I loved this application and I love the program. But I do think when you talk about the staffing and the relevant experience that you could have, that there could have been a little bit more information there. You're dealing with a unique population and you want to know that you want to list a little bit more credentials from the staff, just in, I would think.
I agree with everything that's been said. I think that this is an incredibly important application, but I would have liked to have known a little bit more details surrounding the program itself. I know some things on a personal level, but I just kind of wish that they had been presented just so that way there was more of exactly what this program will do. And then a few other things was, I think that for the community engagement, I think that there's a really large opportunity to expand in some regards, and perhaps not for the performance, but to bring some more education to the community. It looks like they are really focused on these 12 performances, and I just think that there might be room for the idea narrative to grow, as Pat said. But other than that, I think it's a very, very strong application. I do think that for marketing wise, perhaps even an additional social media link or email campaign would have been helpful to see how they are marketing this, but that's it.
Perfect. Thank you all for the comments. We will go ahead and give you a few moments to finalize your scores and comments. Okay, we'll move on to our next application, Opportunity Enterprises. Dustin, you're our first reader.
Thank you. Just pulling it up. Okay. So this is another project that's been going on for 13 years. And it looks like from their application that the changes that they have made have been thoughtful and influenced by their users. The only thing I'd recommend is that a survey be put in place to gather feedback from artists and the participants. Otherwise, this event seems to completely fall within the mission to maximize self-sufficiency and enrich the quality of life for individuals with disabilities in Northwest Indiana. I appreciate the times for the event have been moved to mimic traffic flow, but I do think a more qualitative study should be done with participants and audience members. That was for creativity and artistry. As far as community engagement and idea, the only thing I saw missing from the application is a more detailed and qualitative way to get that engagement feedback. But the project itself aligns completely with idea, and the collaboration with VU complements the overall mission of the event. And then as far as project management, I thought that the proposal is completely reasonable for the request and they meet all necessary requirements.
Thank you, Dustin. Jennifer, you're our second reader.
I love this one. I love that they ask lots of people for their feedback, like the art instructors. I love that they're making accommodations to provide prints of art that the clients don't want to part with. I just think they're really taking into account a lot of different people's needs and opinions. And it seems like they really have it together. Their marketing is great. They just look like they know what they're doing.
Great, thank you. Any additional comments from the panel?
I also love this application, and I think there is something for everyone. I think that's what makes this such a strong application, and that the community engagement and hitting that diversity and equity and accessibility just nailed it for me. But I also really appreciated that they've been making the changes based on past events and surveys to improve the event instead of just, doing the same thing over and over.
Thank you. Any other comments anyone would like to add? All right, hearing none, I'll let you guys update your scores and comments. Okay, we will move on to our next application, the Christina Isabel Dance Company. Amy, you're the first reader.
So this is the second year for their Art in Nature series, which incorporates the live arts, and I thought it was a unique program. It has a wide range of inclusivity with dance, spoken word, music, and furthermore in a unique environment. But I do wonder, is it ADA accessible as a, I'm sorry, excuse me, is it ADA accessible in that environment? I did like the land acknowledgement to the Potawatomi, I'm not going to say it right, but to the Native American tribe, Potawatomi tribe. I did like that. I thought it was a great comprehensive timeline. I'm just a little concerned about accessibility. And maybe if there was a little bit more, I mean, and it was a comprehensive application. And like I said, their timeline was very detailed, very, appreciate such detail in a timeline like that. Just curious really about how accessible that is for everyone.
All right, thank you, Amy. Carol, our second reader.
I agree with everything Amy said, though I thought that the timeline maybe seemed a little bit tight in terms of trying to get things done or getting marketing out for the next event. I like the fact that it's spread out over several months, so people have the ability to pick and choose what they'd like to go to. But I had some concerns again that the timeline was a little bit tight. I thought their feedback mechanisms were interesting and very unique, using Post-it notes or having people use words and pictures to reflect their experience. That's very unique way of asking for feedback. Maybe I'm a little bit on the traditional side that I'd be concerned that you may not get the kind of feedback, enough specific feedback about the program. So I think they need to take a really close look at that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't use that kind of feedback, but if they don't get enough good feedback, they may have to introduce some other feedback mechanisms. I really liked the program overall, and the fact that you're getting a lot of different artists, and that in one particular case, they were using the native plants to transform native plants into different kinds of things like fabrics and materials and all that. And I love the way that they're using nature and drawing people into nature, but also people being able to see different forms of art.
All right, thank you. Any new or additional comments to add?
I had a comment in regard to the PDF of the artistry that they sent. I believe it had 2 broken links within it. So just kind of showing the different things. But I think my biggest comment for this application, well, I thought that the artistry was very strong and they had a clear goal of what they were trying to do. I do think it would be very helpful, especially for their marketing, if they would create some type of how can people engage with this? It seemed to be very driven toward the artists that would participate, but I was thinking that they mentioned a lot of their evenings where you can come out and see the work. How are applicants or viewers going to be, how are they going to engage with this art? And I think just a little bit more information on that would have been helpful from the marketing perspective.
Great, thank you so much. I did want to let you guys know the links, depending on how you viewed them, if you were trying to click the link in the document viewer and it didn't work, if you downloaded it, it should click and go. Sometimes that's not the case, but that would be on us. When the application was built, we were under the impression that links would work from the document viewer by clicking, and that's not the case. You would have to copy and paste them or download them. So just to make everyone aware, that would be our fault, not the applicant. Any additional comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and give you some time to update your score and comments before moving on. Okay, and on to our last application of the panel, the Exodus Refugee Immigration. Pat Martin, first reader.
Okay, I thought this was an extraordinarily strong application. Even though the program or the project is only in the second year, the description was outstanding. The fact that it has paired with Exodus Refugee Immigration, Inc. for a global reach, and I realize this is involving Congolese women, but that's fantastic. In the feedback mechanism that they have here for the artistic quality is excellent. I thought their community engagement was excellent also, or if not outstanding. They have just 5 adults, and I wish they had more than that, but I realize the ratio of 5 adults to 1 artist is excellent in itself too. The project activities timeline was very well thought out, and the budget, well, the whole statement here of profit and loss for the organization as a whole is especially strong.
All right, thank you, Pat. Dustin, you had second reader.
Yeah, I thought that the artistic quality of this application was very succinct and very strong. Really, my only comment is what Pat has already noted, was that it is only 5 adults. So I also was curious to know, they have a lot of, they mention a lot of goals for community engagement, which I think matches the IDEA requirements. However, I would have liked to know a little bit more about how these 5 adults will then, how this can grow to be even more community engagement. I think that was really my only comment about this application.
All right, thank you, Dustin. Any other comments from the panel?
I think it would have been good to, and again, I realize it's only 5 women with 1 artist, but it would be nice to engage the community. Could they make some things that the community could purchase? Is that a goal going forward, that now that they know how to sew and design and make their own clothing, would there be a goal of them being able to produce other things other than for themselves that again could be offered to the public?
All right, thank you, Carol. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, I'll give you guys a few moments here to finalize your score and comments.
I'm sorry, I wanted to add something.
Oh, sure. Yep, go for
I
it.
just want to say this, I know this was a very specific project. I still thought it was a very strong application. I thought what made it so remarkable was that it melded that artistic creation with self-empowerment. The Congolese women were the ones asking for help, asking for this program. And so that's why I thought it was particularly strong.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, this concludes the Region 1 Arts Project Support Panel 1. Applicants will be notified of the status of their grant following approval from the Indiana Arts Commissioners at our June meeting. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to contact Donna Catalano at South Shore Arts, though she's not going to be there much longer, and I believe John King is going to kind of be temporary contact, but you can also email me, Deanna, the grants manager for IC, as well with any questions. I will ask the panelists to go ahead and stay on the line to give us some feedback on the process while our applicants hop off the call. Thank you so much.